Hello and welcome. How does it go?
Welcome.
No. To Nintendo Voice Chat, IGN show where we talk about Nintendo stuff like Pokemon and Minecraft, which is now Nintendo stuff.
Yeah.
And we're getting a rather amazing skin pack this month for Minecraft. We're going to talk about that. We'll also be talking about a number of newsy things this week. But joining me are Alana.
Hey, what's up?
Callie.
Hello.
Pear.
Hello.
I'm Sam. I've hosted in the past, and Jose's on vacation, so he asked me to step in for him. Okay, before we get into all the good Nintendo stuff we're going to talk about, just wanted to remind everybody to definitely subscribe to our new YouTube channel. It's new.
Nice.
It's hot. It's the hotness, as the kids say. We have a new home there.
I don't think kids say that.
Okay. Well, maybe the kids in America say it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's different.
Just a cult. No, they don't.
No.
Don't search for NVC. Just search for Nintendo Voice Chat or youtube.com/Nintendo Voice Chat will get you there.
And Google will bring it up right away. I was
Exactly.
there today trolling Jose. Just kidding. Don't do that. Just be nice. And we can see clips of us not only doing the show, but also playing games.
That's right.
Also, if you listen to this podcast and really dig it, head to iTunes and give us a review. We'll read it, just like Felix128 did. He said, I've been listening for a few years now. I recently moved from South Africa to New York City.
Nice.
Wow. And it's been great listening to familiar voices at the end of every week. I appreciate the passion you guys have for Nintendo games. Keep up the great work.
I like how he mentions familiar voices, and it's like, well, Brian and Jose are out, but hey, this is my first time being on the show.
The
Sorry,
journey's
if
still
you had
here.
been
Back
listening to
after many
Nintendo
months.
Voice Chat after you moved across the ocean, you'd have familiar voices to listen to as well, right? That's tough,
That's true.
right? It's a tough move.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's comforting.
So Alana understands your pain, Felix. All right. Quick news. We're going to go over some news headlines right now, and it was a surprisingly active week. Nintendo, first of all, really cool thing happened. There's a new kind of slogan-y ending to all of Nintendo's videos that says, there's no play like it, and it shows the A, B, X, Y buttons. Now, that might sound boring to you, but I have a whole conspiracy
Well, do
theory
you know why
about
they're doing
this.
this?
Yes.
Come on, it's very clear,
Well, they're
right?
trying to separate from
There's
from
that
Wii U.
Nintendo, and then there's
Yeah.
that Nintendo with the buttons. You know, it's going to be two things.
That's a good
two
point.
Separate.
And I think also that this could, Nintendo's A, B, X, Y buttons have been around since the Super Nintendo. They've been on every system except for the Wii, which had the 1 and 2 buttons, which I think was just really strange.
Yeah.
So that A, B, X, Y layout, they're really claiming that as theirs, which I think is cute.
Yeah.
Everybody's using it, right? I mean, PlayStation just put symbols on it. But I think this indicates, too, that their home systems and consoles will probably continue to have those, which means that a completely touchpad-based controller for their next NX system probably out. I don't think that's going to
Yeah, I don't think anybody thinks that motion controls will be the selling point for the NX, right?
Or even a touch
we're,
screen.
We're past that. It's gonna be a back to sticks and buttons, tried and true concept for a Nintendo console.
Yeah, and you kind of see that where they switched to the red color with that little announcement for their new slogan. So the Wii was kind of this gray and light blue, and then they switched back to the red. And red is the color I associate with Nintendo.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me,
mushroom,
they're
right?
like
and
Mario's
white.
hat
Totally.
or red and white. So
It's the logo, yeah.
Yeah, so going back to that brighter, stronger color, and then also reiterating the ABXY layout. I think that's interesting. Going forward into the NX, it seems like they're kind of dedicated to going back into their history.
So I was always bummed. I played the Super Famicom, the Japanese version, because when I lived there,
with the rainbow
and the
layout.
controller has the different colored buttons,
Yeah.
which then, of course, Xbox and the PlayStation co-opted that kind of layout, right? Like a symbol or a letter plus a color combination, and Nintendo let go of that. And even
Yeah,
in the
the
US,
Famicom logo
you
was
guys
even
got
a
like
little
purple
rainbow.
Yeah.
buttons or something, right?
Everything was purple and gray for
How
many
was-
years.
Australia, you got the European
it was the
design with the
European
colored,
one,
yeah.
So the Super Nintendo was purple and gray, and then the Nintendo 64 had some black versions, but also launched with some purple versions. And then the Game Boy Advance was purple at launch. It was like
Yeah.
a clear
Interesting.
purple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
And
clear,
then the
transparent.
GameCube was purple at launch too.
But I always loved that kind of.
Nintendo loves purple.
They love purple, but I
purple too.
always
It's a good color.
associate them with red.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
totally
same
get
here.
that.
Because of that logo, maybe?
Well, the classics collections, when you go to a store to buy games, all the
right,
classics
right.
ones are in red, and red's
the
an eye-catching
NES was
color.
branded with
and
the
it was
red
branded
and
with the
black
red
and
and
gray.
black.
Like at conventions or expos, their booths are always giant and white, and I wonder
Yeah.
if part of it would be like a Nintendo strategy that red is too aggressive.
Yeah.
I think in the
remember-
past, I'm sure in the past, some brand advisor says
Yeah.
red means stop because they told us, right?
Yeah.
The IGN logo is red too.
Yeah.
And the NBC logo.
And that was always the classic thing, was like red is aggressive.
Yeah.
It's not family friendly. It means
Yeah.
stop.
It's so funny
and-
to-
yeah.
That's probably all it was. And then they released the new 3DS, which has the colored buttons again.
Yes.
After the other DS is not having that.
Yep.
Does the 2DS have that too? I don't remember the colored buttons. I
I don't think so. The 2DS is a little different.
My 3DS is the colored buttons.
Yeah.
Is it a new 3DS?
Yeah, the new 3DS,
Yeah.
the small version that shipped with Animal Crossing has it.
Yeah.
Yes.
The mini.
Yeah,
I call it a mini, but it's just a regular new 3DS.
The
So
faceplate
it's
one.
not
But
the
think
SL.
about it, like
Such a great
I
system.
wish they had kept the color scheme, like the different colors alive, because you could have your green Link, red Mario, yellow Pikachu,
Yeah.
blue Zero Suit Samus or something.
Yeah.
They could have really played up like their kind of characters and like how they invented this kind
Yeah.
of button control scheme.
Yeah.
It's also-
Unfortunately, now it
We're
means
getting
more
into it with these
Xbox
games.
to people.
It's
you
also
know?
really helpful for people who don't play games. Like when I moved to the US,
Oh,
my
yeah.
parents were really
Red,
sad that I
red.
would be taking the Wii U.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier for me to be able to say, look at this color button if they have to like use a
Oh my
system.
gosh, yeah, A,
It's
B, and
so
X and
much
Y don't even
easier.
make sense.
Yeah.
It's not even the
Well,
beginning and end of the alphabet.
Yeah.
It's just the
first of
beginning and
all,
some other letters.
On every controller, the X is in a different place, so it's
Yes.
color
Right.
coding
That's
is super
already a
helpful.
problem.
Yeah.
So I think
Oh,
the
dude,
color
isn't that the worst?
Yes.
All three controllers have a different
Yeah.
X.
Yeah,
But
so
it-
it always stumbles.
And then-
It always stumbles. I always stumble on that when
I
I'm
do
Japanese
too.
games
Yeah.
will switch the forward and back layout for all those.
But it was supposed to be X-axis, Y-axis, right? That's why the XY was
No
chosen
way.
from controllers, 100%.
Huh.
By the way, on the Wii, it was like press the sideways 1 button or the sideways 2 button.
Yeah.
Not a
Nothing
good,
like the
do-
not a good
C-stick. Remember
choice for that
one?
controller.
Oh, the
C
C-stick.
Stick.
Good
Yeah.
times.
C.
But they do have a Z
was
button as
yellow.
well. They're the only one that has
Z,
a Z.
what's that?
The Z button.
Oh, that.
Sorry.
Well, C I thought was like
We
camera.
don't have Zs.
Yeah. Like I always associate it with camera.
It
with
was the
C-stick.
camera.
Yeah.
stick.
But then
Yeah.
also A, B, C, and then
Yeah.
they just skip the whole alphabet.
Yeah.
yeah, screw all those other letters.
Yes,
It's
whatever.
Man, we
fine.
can talk about
I
colors
know,
for a
we
long
gotta move on.
time.
This is
keep
supposed to be
going.
quick news, and I have a few letters to throw in here to make quick news exciting. So Bill writes, Animal Crossing on iOS is an exciting prospect and hopefully a profitable venture for Nintendo. Do you think it will take a free-to-play approach? I really think this is from Monday.
I think it
I
will.
really think
Yes.
it's the type of game people
You're a
need to
smart man.
understand. But I'm worried I'll go bankrupt if Nookington's accepts my real-world cash
Oh,
money.
Oh,
Well, I got some
go.
bad news, Bill, but also just regular news. Nintendo did announce this week that Animal Crossing on iOS and Fire Emblem on iOS will both be. They use the term free to start, which we describe as a free to play model. If you've never heard that term before, it means that things are decidedly not free to play. They're free to start. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
And what you do is you can play the game for a little bit, and then you can buy a bunch of stuff to either make the game easier or to expand more on it, or just to kind of. There's also a lot of cosmetic items. And what is Animal Crossing about? It's about cosmetic items.
I would have paid for turnips if I could have.
Turnips.
Really?
Yeah,
You're
you like
a
playing the
stock
market,
market
huh?
Wait,
turnip
but
person?
would you get any returns on that? Because that would be crazy. If I got,
If you lost your
if
money,
I lost money
That
on
would also
real
be
money on
illegal, I
turnips.
That
think,
would be
inside an
amazing.
Animal
I-
Crossing app. But that would
Yeah.
be so cool.
Like I can imagine if you can get a certain
Speculate.
sort of like Mitomo where you can get a certain amount of coins per day or you can buy more coins. I can imagine one day I come in, I don't have that many coins, and they're like the crown is in the store.
yeah,
I'd be
the
like,
good
well,
thing is in the store. Exactly.
I
But
better
that's
pay
when you spend your
$50
money.
for coins. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm that kind of person.
But you touched on something, and that's in the Animal Crossing console and 3DS and DS games. The turnips were randomized, right? Like the turnip prices differed from village to village.
Yeah.
Now they can actually build an economy because this device is always connected. I'm holding up an iPhone. When somebody buys turnips, that should affect the overall turnip stock price.
That, like,
I
sounds
want an
fascinating.
economy.
That sounds like it should be illegal.
No, it should happen.
Yeah, it's
You're not going to make
invent
real
your
money
own-
with it. You're just going to buy.
I've been under the impression this whole time that still Animal Crossing is not going to be Animal Crossing on iOS. I think it's going to be more of a mini game, maybe like
Happy Home Designer.
Something-
which still has opportunities to buy stuff. You played it.
I really liked Happy Home Designer. I reviewed it. I gave it an 8 because for what it was, it did all of those things excellently. It was the best way to design an Animal Crossing. And so I think if they kind of took that idea of making a specific part of Animal Crossing its own game, that could make a mobile game pretty fun. But I'm worried about my collection impulse that I'd want to just get everything.
Yeah.
And I'd spend a lot of money
Totally.
on it.
My first experience with microtransactions was with a game called Habbo Hotel.
I remember
It's like
Habbo
a
Hotel.
it's like a browser-based game where you just kind of hang out with people, but you have your own room and you can furnish it. And I would have been really young when I played it, maybe 10, and it had a feature where you would call a number and that would put money in your account. So I ended up getting
Really?
this giant phone
You
bill
put like
on.
a 1-800. Well, we
Yeah.
don't have those, but free.
It
telephone
wasn't.
number
It
that you
wasn't
order
free
stuff.
because it would charge.
Oh
you.
my
So I got this huge bill on my parents' account, and
Oh,
they were like,
that's so
"What
evil.
is this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's Habbo Hotel." Like, it didn't occur to me that I was spending money.
Yeah.
I was like, "I'm just calling this number to get stuff." So they weren't mad at me, but they were like, "You cannot play that game anymore." It's like,
Nintendo
suck me
used
in.
to have a tip line when I was growing up, and you could call the tip line. And of course, the tip line cost money, and it cost more money, and your tips would be basically the tip line charged your parents for your tips.
Yeah.
You know, it's that same thing. It was like $4.99 a minute.
That's
So you'd be like,
crazy.
okay, Mom, can I do this? And you'd be like, all right, how do I beat this? And then they would like slowly look it up.
Rifle.
Yeah.
That's
Take their
how
time.
that's how you became a guides writer.
That's
Because
actually
you
true.
had to do it yourself.
That was the the precedent
The
to
genesis.
IGN. Well, that's when IGN stepped in and was like, we can just do this for free online. and that
Ruined
just blew
another
up.
good business.
Now all those
model.
gameplay counselors are out of jobs. But
I wonder
there's
how-
gameplay counselors here that have jobs.
Yeah. Yay. I wonder how Fire Emblem is actually going to work on mobile. Like,
That's what I was going to ask.
I have no idea.
That
It's-
I'm hoping it's not like take this many turns for free every day. And then you
No.
have
Sort of like a Candy
you
Crush
know it's
model.
Gonna be something like
I
that.
think it'll be
Yeah.
map based. I think you'll pay for
But
new
that's
maps.
not
That's their
free to
model
play,
on
though.
3DS
That's just
too.
DLC.
No, but free to play, you get like 10 maps, and then maybe they release like one a week. Like maybe they're taking a model like some of the other free to play games that update frequently, but then always have some sort of cap.
All right, well, I'll keep my
Yeah.
mouth shut
I
about
hope
that
you-
more evil solution.
I hope you don't run out of
think
like
Nintendo
move
are
power or
nice.
something. That would be sucky.
Yeah, move power.
I don't
Nintendo
want
is,
that.
is really focused on the player experience, like the end user experience.
I have faith they'll do a good
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
And this is like the most excited I've been about mobile games in a really long time as well.
Yeah, and I always bring this up when we talk about Nintendo on mobile. And the last time I was on the show, I brought this up. Is I do think it's interesting because in Japan, like it's very commuter focused. Even young children are commuting like on trains and public transit. So the mobile market there, I think, is a little different than it is here. Like you would be on a train for a significant amount of time. Because right now, like I've been playing Sailor Moon Drops a lot, and that one is you lose.
That's
Sailor
a-
Moon drops a lot? That sounds terrible.
Sailor Moon drops.
Sailor
She's
Moon
very
Drops.
clumsy.
Oh.
I have been playing it quite frequently.
Sailor Moon drop slot. It's a juggling game.
It's one of those things. She's really clumsy. She's one of those characters. That one, if you like lose a certain amount of times, you have to wait 20 minutes or something for a new like
Yeah.
hot,
or
like life,
pay real money.
or
to
pay
play, yeah.
to play more, which I don't do. I just do
That's
something
a
else.
really frustrating type of free to play model.
I wonder
right.
when
Like
that
I
started.
really
Farmville?
maybe Farmville was I played
Yeah.
a lot of Farmville, but
Yeah, it was definitely kind of farming sim games.
Yeah.
First,
I would hope Nintendo would be a little bit different.
I don't think that they will do that, but that's a good
Yeah.
point. Like they're expecting people to play for long periods of time and then not again until the afternoon. So
Yeah.
that will probably totally affect how it plays.
Technically,
Yeah.
they pioneered the tradition by making an upright Donkey Kong machine, which you put a quarter into every time you wanted to play it.
Yeah, that was first DLC right there, right?
That's free to play.
Free to
Original
play.
DLC.
Yeah, so it's
spe-
just it's important to take into account the Japanese mobile market when
Yeah,
you
sure.
think about how Nintendo
Yeah.
does this stuff.
I got a Craigway there. Somebody achieved, and this is just a small tidbit that I hadn't had in the notes, so I'm going to catch you guys off guard. But there's a perfect DK score achieved this week. Donkey Kong, the classic arcade game, a guy reached the highest score that might be possible, 1,218,000 by Wes Copeland. That's much higher than if you guys saw King of Kong, which is a great movie. I highly recommend it. It's about
It's
two
amazing. So
two
good.
players competing to get the highest score in Donkey Kong. That's much higher than that. Like things have gone crazy in the world of Donkey Kong. So
It's very
congratulations to
dramatic.
Wes
You'll love
Copeland.
it.
Also, Wes Copeland is the name of a freelance writer for IGN.
Yeah.
But so
person.
just to explain this, right? Like this means playing it completely perfectly and getting the max amount of points because it's different. Like if you don't
But
take
it's
the
still
hammer,
not like Miss Pac-Man where you can get an exact amount of points. It's
Okay.
also luck-based. So it's like the barrels clumped together just right. And you're
That's
getting
what
all
I
this
was
stuff.
gonna
but
say.
this is such a higher number than basically. So here's what you do. What's different about this than what Steve Wiebe and Billy Mitchell did, who are the previous score holders. This guy got to the end of Donkey Kong where there's a kill screen, so it stops. It's a hard stop, and the game will just kill you. And when you get to that point, you have to have your maximum score. So what he did was he got there with all of his lives, and then spammed score towards the end of the game. So like if you see the chart of his score, it's like really high, and then it just goes flat for a long time, and it's like way up again.
So what,
you
he
got to
just
spend
stays-
his lives before that last level making a big score.
so he stays in one level and
Spam.
just uses the hammer to take down barrels and then jumps over the barrels or the
on
flames
secret level
or
and
That's
stuff
really
like that.
smart.
Wow.
That's super
But
smart.
it
Okay.
also takes so much luck.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
in Donkey Kong, there's this element of randomness where a barrel comes down like zigzag pattern from
Yeah.
the top, and that one is unpredictable. So that's one of these random elements which people have to come in.
I wonder how many
just-
times he played it.
If you watch the beginning of this play, I mean, I'm sure he's played it thousands of times. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. But he spends so much time on just the first screen. Like, it's not like getting to it as fast as possible. It's like killing everything.
Yeah.
Do you have a
Methodical.
machine?
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
a machine. Yeah.
So Sam collects arcade machines, and his entire house
I have never
is filled with
even
them.
got to 1/12 of the score. I can't break 100,000.
It's a hard game. I mean,
a hard
it's
game,
such
but
a
so playable and
It's such
fun.
an amazingly designed game that you can just start and play it. But I think anybody who's never played it before will go up the first ladder and die. Right? Like it is very unforgiving.
But now that we all
great
know
game.
Mario, it's not as novel as it was at the time, which was like really novel.
Multi-screen,
But it's
yeah.
still a jump button, and it has like stuff to jump over, and you can figure it out. But yeah, it's a
That's
tough
awesome.
game.
Yeah.
Anyway, neat
Love it.
thing. Okay, so got another letter here. Taylor writes, "Hello NVC. What does the cancellation of Disney Infinity mean for Amiibo? Will we see an Amiibo-focused game now? Thanks, guys." Thank you, Taylor. Another bit of news this week. We've talked about this on other shows. Definitely check out Game Scoop. We talked about it a lot on that.
And
but
Unlocked
Disney
and Beyond.
and Unlocked and Beyond. Yeah. So I don't want to go all out talking about what the meaning of Disney Infinity's cancellation is, which is sad, and it was a great game. But are Amiibo in trouble? I'm really curious about that too.
What do you guys think?
Don't think it's going to affect Amiibo at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Full
see it
stop.
as
Amiibo are kind of slowing down already.
Well, yeah, I was talking to my roommate about this, and I was like, yeah, even the Amiibo collectors in the office have slowly started to give up, kind of.
because we're just getting like talking llamas
Yeah,
at this
you're just
point, right?
getting,
Like
like-
it's we've moved on to Animal Crossing, and the characters are not as unique, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the main characters are cool, but like who cares about all the NPCs?
Right.
To
Yeah.
the point of
Well, because there's like 5 personalities in that game, so they're all going to have
versus
similar.
Samus and
Yeah.
Zelda and stuff. And
But what about Pokemon?
so I think there's still life left in the Toys to Life genre, but you have to imagine there was a big cake, and that was the money that people would spend on these. And it started with Skylanders, and it was a
Stick
billion
with the
dollar
cake analogy.
franchise, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly, everybody
More
wanted
about
a
cake.
piece of the cake.
piece
You've
of
got you've got Nintendo, you've got Lego, you've
Chocolate,
got
vanilla.
you've got Disney Infinity, and like
Strawberry.
and so. If you are
All the
like,
good
you're very
flavors.
funny. If you like, if you like
I'm just trying to
Disney,
stick with
He
the cake
says
analogy.
straight
No, but if
I
you
just
like-
want to talk about cake.
if you like Disney, you
Now
put a
cake.
lot of money into the development of the game, it becomes a very difficult thing to sustain. And I think Nintendo hasn't. I don't want to say fall into that trap, because it'd be awesome to get some really good Amiibo software. Because let's face it, there isn't, right? Really good stuff. But they
I
didn't
still love
spend.
the Smash Bros.
They didn't spend $40 million on like developing an Amiibo game, and so it's not as
I
risky.
kind of
Yeah.
feel like it's not comparable. I don't think anything that's happened to Disney Infinity will affect Amiibo. Amiibo definitely doesn't have the hype that it did have,
Yeah.
which is probably in part because they're not as hard to find as they were. Like I think a lot
Isn't
of
that
the
for
initial
sure?
hype was that
Yeah.
people couldn't get them, so everyone was
collectability.
talking about it. And
I spent $50 on a Rosalina because it was so hard to get,
So are
and I
ones-
really wanted all the princesses.
and Rosalina
Aw.
is just available.
yeah, you can get
frequently.
more
Rosalina
common,
fairly
but
easily.
Mario sometimes is going for $40 now, which was the one
You
that
are
you saw
kidding me.
everywhere,
Yeah.
right?
The
Like
Smash
it's-
Brothers Mario with the
Yep.
Yeah,
the
the
first
fire.
one.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think you have a point that they're not
What a roller
comparable. I think going back to like not having software that's dedicated to that, like Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival was like the Amiibo-driven game, and like
Yeah.
the use of Amiibo cards there, I don't think was very useful or inventive
Or interesting,
Or
right?
interesting,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's like one of the Mario Party games. Is
Yeah,
it?
Mario
yeah,
Party
the
10.
Mario
Yeah.
Party 10 has
That has
Amiibo
the and
functionality.
I kind of liked that, but mostly was annoyed by it.
Yeah,
It's
It changed the game boards, and it was kind of funny. in that
there's
sense.
no killer
Yeah.
app like Skylanders, and
Yeah.
that's the
No,
big
you're
question. I
totally
mean, Skylanders' profits have been going down, so it could be that we're facing a situation like with music games, right? First there was Guitar Hero, everybody loved the first one, it blew up. Then every company made a music game, and Rock
Yeah.
Band was a big competitor, and the market imploded. Like there was
Yeah.
this fatigue, and that can happen with gimmick gear, right?
Yeah.
Like where the action sports genre, Tony Hawk, everything died. The RTS genre almost died at one point. Everything comes back after a while, but we'll see what happens with toys.
At least
Maybe
Amiibo
People think
always
it is
look
quite
good on my
gimmicky.
shelf.
That's the
Yeah.
thing that I think Amiibo has that, I mean, I think Disney Infinity kind of does as well. They all look really good, but
Yeah.
especially with the Nintendo characters, they're all really iconic characters. And
Yeah.
there's some
Yeah.
of them that I've bought that had never even touched a gamepad just
Yeah.
because I'm like, I love the way that looks.
But how many icons are left, right?
yeah,
That's
But,
true.
I mean, yeah, almost all the Amiibo I have are in boxes still because I just like the way they look.
Yeah.
I didn't even use them for game stuff.
I haven't opened a single one.
Yeah, I don't
guys,
open them.
you guys
I
are
have 3
heartless
large
creatures.
boxes under my desk of my Amiibo.
You got,
I
have
don't know what to
you
do. I can't bring them home.
have
Yeah.
you not learned anything from
those.
Toy Story? Let them out.
That's suffocating.
Yeah.
But
Aw.
yeah, I feel like
Oh.
I don't actually know what's going to happen to Amiibo. Disney Infinity were the highest selling of all of the Toys to Life genre.
Really?
And, yeah, by quite a bit.
Yeah.
And the fact that they shut down is like, it's obviously the production cost is crazy high compared to their expectations, I think.
Yeah, and it could also be the realignment of what Disney is doing, right? Like
That's true.
They had an
It's a big
internal
company.
development
Yeah.
studio before. They made killer games, but none of them sold, and so
Yeah.
they dialed back.
Right.
And it sounds like now they're focusing on licensing more
I
than
think
anything.
that's probably more profitable to have
Yeah.
But does that
Yeah.
mean we
Sad.
could get Disney Amiibo?
That could be.
Maybe. I think it'll affect the Lego games quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like we should be able to have maybe Lego Dimensions. We'll be able to have Marvel characters now, which is really cool. But
Or Skylanders will have Disneylanders.
I mean,
Hey!
yeah, like Skylanders already does have.
Disneylanders is
Nintendo.
pretty irresistible pair.
Bowser.
Wish I was a I wish I could sell that. Okay, let's get to the elephant in the room. The elephant. Is there a
Hey, that's
Pokemon
rude.
that's an elephant?
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fan
Sure.
P and Don Fan.
Say that again.
Fan P and Don Fan.
Fan P.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the fan P in the room. That's that. There's a
Now
new-
that I think about that name,
Like
I could have
elephant.
tested that one.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Fan P.
And
Yeah.
what's the evolution? I'm gonna try this again.
Don Fan.
Dong fan.
Don Fan.
DON.
Yeah.
Don fan.
Oh, not D-O-N-G.
Let's get to
Not
the
Dong fan.
It's not.
Let's get to the Don fan in the room. There's a bunch of new Pokemon information.
Woo! There is
We
a
have
lot.
new Sun and Moon starters. I love it when there's new starters because they're so controversial. I have the IGN poll results of the starters. We'll get to in a bit. But we also got a trailer and
Yeah.
which you broke down. So we'll
I did.
talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's just first gameplay footage. And is there anything else I'm missing there?
The
release
first look at the release date, the box art,
November?
and the first look at the legendaries.
Did you cry?
I cried at the Japanese commercial.
Okay, good.
Oh,
Just
that
checking.
was so
It
good.
was really, really
Just
sweet.
checking.
Yeah.
So let's start at the beginning there. Release date, November 18th.
Yes.
We have a Pokemon game this November on 3DS.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes.
By the way, you'll be able to play that on your $79.99 2DS if you want to get a 2DS now. They're $80
On sale.
so
Yeah.
cheap as
That's
that.
crazy.
They're very cheap now.
Yeah.
That's about 800 Australian dollars.
Yeah. That checks out. It's more like 110.
Things are
But,
really
but it's
expensive in
but
Australia.
it's banned there because
Yeah, it's probably banned then.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Censored.
Okay, so we got the release date and the starters, which we could talk about. Rowlet, or Rowlet, this is
Rowlet.
an owl, of course. Litten and Poplio. Here's the results of the IGN poll on what people like the best. You guys know who won?
Yes.
Poplio?
Rowlet.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
Rowlet. Rowlet got 50% of the vote.
Right.
That's great. And the remaining Litten, Rowlet is an owl.
Rowlet is the grass flying type owl,
Yes.
and grass flying is a really good typing. It's only 4 times weakness is ice, so it loses the electric weakness and it loses the flying weakness.
There's also a huge pro to having a Pokemon like as a starter that has flying.
Yeah, because then because with
You're
Omega
always
Ruby,
going to need one in your party to have it from the start as well.
Well, don't you get the ability that lets you fast travel and stuff?
yeah, there is fast
that's
traveling
true.
with Soar with Latios and Latias
So
and
probably that
Oris.
Pokemon can learn Soar.
Possibly, I'm not sure where they're taking that. If they're going to take the HMs and just reuse them, or
Whoa, you
kind
think
of.
they could?
See,
I
I'd
really
be-
hope not.
I'd favor that for kind of like traversal
Yeah.
and stuff that the abilities are like at the player level, not at the Pokemon level.
Yeah.
I always hated that you have
Yeah.
to take up a slot for
Yeah,
some
exactly.
of the abilities.
Yeah.
But
That
So what are
was-
the other advantages of having a flying type from the start you're mentioning?
Flying is also good against other grass type Pokemon because if you're choosing like not fire, it's fire Pokemon are kind of hard to come by. They're not.
I
really as-
always go fire starter. Every
Yeah, I was usually a water starter. This is the first time where I've actually really liked the grass starter besides Bulbasaur. So the first time in years and years and years.
Yeah.
It's time for the grass starter to shine. And then Litten is the second. What percentage of the votes did it get?
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Litten, the Lit Kitten, the new fire Pokemon.
oh, it's like a fire
lit.
kitten.
got 40%
Lit, fam.
of the remaining
40%.
38.2%.
RIP.
What was the last one? What
so
did it look like?
49.93% versus 38.2%, leaving a meager 11.8% for Poplio.
Poplio.
And what is that?
So-
Don't you guys want to choose
It's a little
Poplio
seal.
now?
Looks like a
Huh?
circus seal.
So Poplio is its nose is like a water balloon,
Of
and
course.
it looks like one of those performing seals.
Oh,
So it's
like
supposed
Leo,
to be
like
like a water
lions.
balloon
Like a
balancing
sea
on
lion,
the
it's a sea
end of
lion.
seal. You know, seals used to balance balls.
No, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like a dog with water balloons on its face.
Yeah.
But it is a seal.
I like to call him Clown Dog,
Clown dog.
Yeah.
but
So-
he is a sea lion.
So clearly, I mean, if you did this
she.
poll with kids,
Or she.
though, maybe that one is the cutest, and that one would win a little bit with the younger set.
I think
Or do you
Rowlet's pretty cute.
I think
Or do you
Rowlet's
think
pretty
people
cute
are
too.
just?
Pretty
Do you think
cute,
people are
man.
just thinking
Okay,
practically?
Except
like,
when you read the
power?
description, like part of the description for Rowlet is like it can turn its head 360 degrees and will stare at its trainer like
Yeah.
in battle. I'm like, that's not cute at
So-
all.
That's
Yeah.
exorcism
Yeah.
And then-
territory right there.
Yeah, and then Litten's description is its fur is extremely oily,
Right,
and it
and
licks
flammable.
it, and then it licks its own fur like a cat does, and then
Uh-huh.
spits fiery
fire.
hairballs.
Yeah, but it also says its fur is flammable.
well thought.
That sounds suicidal.
yeah. So
It's going to
Poplio-
light itself
But
on
it's got
fire.
I
it's
just-
got asbestos skin underneath, so
That's
there's no
true,
problem.
But it likes
Right.
fire, right? Because it's so
yeah, I don't know if
maybe
it likes
wants to
it
be lit
being
on
on fire.
No, fire type Pokemon can't get
Litten's on
burned. So,
fire.
but Poplio is probably the safest choice if it were real, since it's just a nice, playful little
Yeah.
little dude.
It's not going to
Until
like,
you pop that
I
balloon.
keep-
Yeah, I
I
think it'd be
keep-
weird to
What
find the
happened?
remnants
It's
of the
filled with
balloons all
acid.
over your house.
yeah, I
little
keep
bits of
accidentally-
skin.
But I mean, it's not going to light itself on fire, and it's not going to pull an
It's not
exorcism
going to peck
on
your
you.
Full
eyes out.
exorcism,
Yeah.
yeah.
I keep accidentally
Whoa, that
referring to
turned
them as yeah. I keep accidentally saying he because it's actually 75% of starter Pokemon. They have a 75% chance of being male, so I always
okay.
refer to them as he. But
Is that to keep you from having breeding early?
I think so. I think so.
I
Litten
never knew that.
is supposed to have some other qualities, right? Like it's resistant to your owner, or like doesn't listen to you. Weren't you saying something about that?
I mean, it
Well,
looks
it's a
like
cat,
it would be.
so
Are you
It
it's
looks
saying
not
that's what
gonna-
it looks like?
It
It just looks like
Litten
it's
straight up looks like a Hot Topic baby.
Yeah.
So
part of the description
What's
was
a
like,
hot topic baby?
you know, like a little mall rat from 2006.
it's
that
an
always
emo
goes to
kid.
Hot Topic, yeah.
And part of its description was like it's cool-headed or something, doesn't give away emotions.
Yeah.
Part
Yeah.
of Rowlet's
Like a cat.
was that it's very sneaky, and I don't really know what special or what stat that would align with. Like
So-
maybe it's fast.
Well, like a lot
Yeah,
of it
maybe.
probably
High
specializes
speed?
in speed, and then the other part of the description was it uses like fast kicks and leaf blades.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine it would be attack and speed based.
Yeah,
You don't want to be kicked by a fast owl. That
No,
No,
that's true. That doesn't sound fun.
It's one of those
Someone's gonna lose an eye.
parables. Yeah.
You know how, well, Squirtle evolved into War Turtle, but becoming basically a tank. It is like he
the
he
Blastoise
evolves
with
guns.
the
This Blastoise. We are thinking about like what that would look like for Poplio.
I want
What does Poplio become?
grenade launcher Poplio.
Grenade launcher Poplio.
Yeah.
That's it. So you get your balloons, but they're heavy duty grenades.
That
Yeah.
sounds really scary.
It's like
I love
the
it.
evolved
What if
form is
it's-
like this tough
Its
looking
final
seal
form is
just
Jabba the
tossing
Hutt.
Yeah.
Tossing the grenade.
Jabba the Hutt.
It just becomes Jabba the Hutt. By
that
the way.
would look
Just
too much
like
like
wormy sea lion.
that would
Yeah.
look way too much
Yeah.
like Walrein though. So we got the walrus one.
Walrein.
Yeah, the walrus one is kind of this like Jabba the Hutt looking tusk thing.
What does Walrein evolve into?
It evolves from Celio, I think.
There's another seal?
There are
Of
lots of
course,
seals.
lots of
Yeah.
Seal and Dugong.
Yeah, there's
Dugong.
seal and
Oh
dugong.
yeah, that's right.
There's
What
other
are they gonna
seals,
do?
but
Dugong is so
Poplio
cute.
Poplio is not a seal; it's a sea lion.
Lion. That's
Yeah.
where
Very
Seal
important
comes
distinction.
The difference is in their ear flaps and also the way they walk on land.
See,
Whoa.
There you
that's
go,
what
kids.
they teach in schools in
Biology.
Australia.
Seals versus
Have you seen the sea lions here?
Yeah, they
We
smell.
have
They
lots
smell
of sea
really
lions
bad.
here.
Yeah.
Now you can also go see harbor seals just south of here, and they're really cute.
can
They have
go-
little cat faces.
They're different to sea lions.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them on the beach at the Marine Reserve in Pacifica.
I like otters personally because
Otters
they
is super
break
cute.
like clams on their tummies. They're very
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a different animal though.
Very different, but I was
Sea
thinking
otters.
about like
there's one sea
I was
otter in
thinking
San
about
Francisco, and everybody always
mammals in the
always
ocean.
used
There's
to
one.
about it.
Yeah.
It's the Sutra baths. You can see one sea lion there, or a sea otter.
There's a bison too.
Oh.
There's a few bison.
I do find
What's
it very
the bison
cute.
Pokemon?
There's none.
Well,
There's
there's
one?
Taurus, which is the bull Pokemon,
Oh, I
and then
remember
there's
Taurus.
Buffalant, which is I think supposed to be a bison.
That's it. That's
Do you know literally every Pokemon?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I have the first two generations, that is, not the
got
first
those
two
down?
Pokemon, and then after that I'm like,
And my head is full. Like after
know-
like 300 Pokemon, any
That's
that you
what it
add,
is.
I
I'm just-
forgot like Dongfan already. Like, it's
But you
already
did it,
fallen out of
Dongfan.
my head.
Yeah,
Dong
Well, it's right
Stop
here.
saying it.
That's my new gamer tag.
Yeah.
Go with Dongfan.
Fan. Okay, so there's a new region. It's Hawaii inspired, which is
Definitely.
a great idea
Yeah.
for a Pokemon game. I love the volcano area
Yeah.
and the beaches and stuff like that. And hopefully the championships will be back in Hawaii soon, so we can all go to Hawaii.
Ooh yeah.
But this overworld, from your rewind, I was watching it. The overworld looks like it's navigated very differently than other games. Well, not so different from XY, but it looks beautiful for one
It
thing.
does.
It looks like the camera's really moving a lot in it.
yeah, there's a part in that trailer where it's like most of X and Y most of it was behind you. Whereas
Very
there's a
fixed
part,
camera.
Yeah, there's a part in this where you're running.
Like it still
and
could
it's
be
to
a
the
grid
side
in
and
XY.
yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I wonder how that's going to work, or how
So-
flexible it's going to be.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe it would have something to do with the C-stick, like second camera
Could they
on,
use the new
on your
3DS nub?
Possibly,
God,
but
I
then
would love that.
it's for the whole 3DS family, so I don't think they would really rely on that.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
they're pushing the 2DS too. Though.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of
that's
course.
true.
But yeah, so when I was rewinding that trailer, I just noticed that they do sort of like in Lumio City and X and Y, you have that sort of behind you focus. That was like the big 3D reveal that we saw when those games were first announced. So it was like, oh, it's in 3D now. And that wasn't for most of the game. Most of the game was still the traditional fixed camera, top down ish Pokemon that
And
we're
they've
used
had like
to.
in black and white, like when you go over the bridge, it'll like do like the
Yeah,
big
it'll
camera
pan.
pan out.
Yeah.
And it watches you go over it. Or sometimes the cities will be in like a ring, and you're
Right.
going around the rings and stuff.
Yeah,
But,
so
I can't
I
tell
exploited
what
that.
it's like.
Yeah.
How'd
The
you
ring
exploit-
thing.
How'd you exploit that?
There was something Callie will know the name of that you can use that I basically
It's for walking infinitely.
yeah it walk no you get XP for like every
Yeah.
few steps that you
Yeah.
take, and I managed to like with the part that's a circle
Mm-hmm.
in Lumio City, I managed to just like stick my controller so it was repeatedly walking.
Nice.
What did you use to stick your controller down?
I think I used blue tack.
Blue,
The heck is a blue tack?
I don't know. We don't have that here.
Like
Is it
it's
a
just like a tack, like the kind of
Oh, I see,
like
okay.
like gummy sort of.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I just like pushed that in the side of it, left it on overnight,
really
and so
smart.
it just kept walking around in circles. So I was getting XP while I was
Nice.
Do
sleeping.
you guys remember the Katamari Damacy controller setup? There was a thing like that where you had to roll for
Yeah.
24 hours.
That's
That's that whole
right.
game.
And this
Yeah.
guy did it. And you can't just you can't just roll one way. So he hooked up a oscillating fan to each thumbstick, and it pulled them back
That's
and forth.
Oh, man.
And so the
good.
Katamari ball would just roll around in a big circle.
Wow.
Or you throw
That's
it
really
in
smart.
a barrel of kittens. That works too.
That's
A
super
barrel of
smart.
kittens.
That's
Aw.
really smart.
Barrel of
Have you guys seen the robot that plays Pokemon for shinies too?
Yeah, there's
a
someone who
thing?
set it up
Yeah.
with like 3
And he uses
DSs
an
or something.
optic
And
sensor because
Whoa.
because the load time before a shiny is a little bit longer.
yeah, because
And
it's
so
loading
it
that,
would
it's loading the
recognize
sparkles.
that, and
Right.
it would catch instead of kill.
Wow.
And it was like this little robot arm that was actually hitting the buttons.
That's
Man, imagine
amazing.
if all that energy was used for good.
I think getting
But-
all the shiny Pokemon
Shinies
is
are-
excellent.
However,
And
so-
it's only
Energy
shiny
crisis
Magikarp,
solved.
am I right? I think it's only shiny Magikarp for that.
because you want a red Gyarados. Red Gyarados is the best.
Yeah.
And if Max Scoville hadn't stolen
Maybe
my
they didn't catch other
Pikachu for Up at Noon, then I would be able to show you my
It
red
was either
Gyarados.
that or the
Red
shiny
Gyarados is
Audino
the
is
best.
really easy to catch in that way, I think, because
Which
you
one?
walk shiny Audino, I think, in grass and that.
Yeah, there's
was
like
an
you can do the
exploit
Masada method, or you can get the shiny charm, or the fishing chaining. There's a couple ways to
Fish chaining.
fishing chain. Yeah.
By the way,
but I do want to bring it back talking about Pokemon for good.
All right.
I do want to talk about the Japanese trailer for a little bit because
man.
we get
So
to see
lovely.
that this kid from Japan is moving to what looks like Hawaii. He is trying to like learn English, and he sort of writes down how he's going to introduce himself.
it was like Inside Out, right?
Yeah, it was
Kind of, yeah.
It was so sweet because
Sadness of moving.
It
Yeah.
was so sweet because that's how I made friends, was just like bonding over Pokemon. And when you don't have anything else in common or you don't know how to communicate, it's really important, and that's why that trailer
Which
is so
era
touching.
Pokemon was this? Was this red, blue, yellow, or a little bit later?
What?
When you were bonding over Pokemon.
Oh, when I was bonding over
Yeah.
Pokemon, it was a little bit later than that.
Yeah, so
used
you actually,
Neopets.
but you. My point is that, like, you know, a lot of people had Game Boys at the time, and were
Yeah,
playing Pokemon.
yeah, and like you bring it to school, and it was until they banned it at my school because people were like stealing people's Game Boys.
Banned.
Yeah, they banned it.
That
I was
happened in
30.
high
I'm
school,
like,
too.
hey, kid, you want to trade? Come here. The mom's like, no.
Yeah, just that was a really cool way to showcase, but like the region, showcase Alola, kind of the
Yeah.
Hawaii-inspired
That's
setting, but
cool.
also showing like why Pokemon's important and why people care so much about Pokemon. Is it's,
It's
not
totally true. Like you can
it's-
totally become friends with someone just by talking about Pokemon.
yeah, like you
Like,
have
I
somebody
love
to
that.
trade with, and
Yeah.
it's really important.
I actually for X and Y bought a second 3DS. I had X, and then I bought Y and a second 3DS so I could trade with myself.
Yeah.
I did that with fruit and Animal Crossing.
That's-
I would
So
trade
did you
fruit
get-
with myself.
That's a little sad.
It's
too.
really
I
sad.
gotta-
Sad, yeah.
Well, did you have a burner copy, like in Animal Crossing, for instance, where you just
I had-
get apples,
so,
peaches, everything,
yeah.
and then another one you'd keep them? And
I
for
had
you,
my-
You would like
yeah.
start a game over and over again and
I-
trade your starters?
I just no. I would trade the Pokemon that were on my team. I would trade them and then trade them back so they'd have the EXP
Oh,
boost.
They get
constantly.
power more
Yeah,
powerful.
But I
yeah.
also
Well-
like I wanted to have the. I think I was. Which is the one where the Charizard looks dead in the Mega Evolutions? I think it's Y.
Oh, the Y. So X1 has the black and purple, and then the
Okay.
Y Mega Charizard Y is.
So
like
then I was
the-
playing X because I like the X Legendary, and then I had to get the
Xerneas
Mega
is
Stone
awesome.
for the
The big
Y
deer.
one. Yeah.
You can get
Rainbow
Xerneas
deal.
on Mystery Gift right now. Shiny Xerneas. It's one of the giveaway
So,
Pokemon.
Xerneas
real
is a really
quick,
nice
let's talk
Pokemon.
about legendaries. We saw a Sun and Moon inspired mascots. One's Big Bat, and one is a Sun Lion.
What does Big Bat? What does it look like?
Okay. Let's describe
so-
Big Bat. You described it as a Woobat?
It looks
Swoobat?
sort of like Woobat,
Woobat.
or Swoobat, depending on the evolution. But also, it
It
reminded
has
me
stars in its
of
wings.
Noivern a little bit, but just like with really big wings. So it doesn't look like any other bat Pokemon.
I was
that-
kind of kidding. I figured
was
it looks like a big bat.
right.
But it does have like a starry night pattern on its.
That's
wings.
cool.
Yeah. So I'm anticipating it's going to be dark type, but we don't know
Yeah.
that for sure. Like, I don't know if they're introducing new types. I think that would be hard to balance. But then the other one,
Be exciting though.
yeah. Well, Fairy was really exciting because it actually enhanced the metagame, I think. But
Yeah, I feel like they
Explain.
probably can't do it again.
well,
just
yeah.
yet.
So Dragon was pretty overpowered. They didn't have a lot of weaknesses, especially because Ice is such a frail type, and Ice was
Yeah.
the only really attacking besides other dragons, which is a gamble because you're vulnerable to Dragon
wanna
as
have
a
Ice,
dragon.
yeah.
So
that's
Fairy, it was a really good opportunity to give poison types more strength because poison didn't really have a lot of super effective, offensive power. So Fairy is weak to poison and steel, and super effective against dragon.
Yeah, the fairy weaknesses are always the hardest for me to remember because
Yeah.
why are fairies weak against poison and steel?
Yeah, I guarantee you
Because
can bring down a
magic.
bird with
Because
poison
magic,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can. There's a lot of logic to Pokemon. Like, don't throw rocks at birds; it'll kill them.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So I think it could be interesting if maybe they go one step further from Mega Evolution and go to like legendaries that don't have a type or something because they're laying into like Sun and Moon. It's different than like a color or a gemstone or a letter. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. They look sort of the way Mega Evolutions look. Like when you Mega Evolve a Pokemon in battle, it kind of does this like battle cry thing. And when you see the Lion one and the Bat one, they're kind of doing a similar sort of thing. So that it made me think of Mega Evolutions.
Maybe they're permanently mega.
Oh.
Maybe. But the Lion one,
Will we get new Mega Evolutions with every Pokemon now? Like
Probably.
all
Oh, not-
old ones will get new Megas.
I don't think
that
that
possible?
all Pokemon will ever have mega evolutions, but I would
You
guess
don't
that
think
they
they're
would
going to
continue
like go
adding.
through the back of stock?
They
and, like, start
did.
bringing-
So
Yeah, but-
Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire introduced a couple new megas. So like Lopunny wasn't an X and Y, but it's a mega.
Yeah,
and
I think it's
Oris.
to do with the stone. Is the in-game logic is it's like as long as you find a mega stone, and mega stones could probably potentially be for every Pokemon in any different world. So it's like yeah, they could.
Do you think Chandelure will ever get a Mega?
I want
I
it
really
to.
like
I
Chandelure.
love Chandelure.
What would this, because you start as a candle and then you turn into a chandelier, what would
Yeah.
you maybe,
Just a real big
Just
chandelier.
a bigger chandelier.
maybe a menorah? Be cute.
You know, that'd be
yeah.
a little menorah guy.
Or maybe a campfire. You can roast weenies.
Just a light.
Just don't get
Just
that.
don't
Just
lamp.
like electricity.
Yeah, maybe.
Don't let that lit cat into the room then.
A basic gas lantern. Yeah, I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
What about
So you-
Vanillux? Is Vanillux ever going to get a Mega?
Probably not.
You could be like a tub of ice cream.
However, it's really funny because someone, like a pint.
Yeah.
Somebody had Mega Alakazam, which has a bunch of spoons.
Love Mega Alakazam.
It has a bunch of
much.
spoons,
Instead
and then
of
they
just
had
one
it
spoon.
battle a bunch of Vaniluxes. So it's like
that's evil.
Mega Alakazam's really ready to chow
That's
down on some
awesome.
ice cream.
Oh,
Like my
man.
favorite Pokemon in the games have always been Gyarados and Alakazam, and then I figured out, without finding out on the internet, I figured out in the game that they both had Mega Evolutions, and it was just the happiest day ever. I was like, both of them? Incredible!
Yeah.
Are you going to call in sick when this game comes out?
No,
Well, you
because
can't
I'm
say
gonna be.
now.
Tell us now.
You can't say now.
I'm probably going to
But-
be covering it.
Yeah,
so
probably.
Yeah,
review it.
in case listeners and viewers, in case you couldn't tell, both her and Charmander Alana Salad here are huge Pokemon fans. So
like Pokemon,
we
yeah.
get real life emails in the, like offices, you'll see emails shared with everybody. And it's usually like, hey, who knocked over the water cooler? We get, who took my Pikachu? I saw that while I was traveling. Somebody took your Pikachu?
I sent out an email
Yeah, I
because
saw
there
that
was a
too.
Pikachu missing from my desk. I have a lot of plushies on my desk. My desk is pretty much all plushies. And people have been joking that I wouldn't notice if one of them was missing. So there was a missing Pikachu, and I noticed immediately. And I sent out an email like, who took my
like
precious baby?
company-wide angry email.
But it was also this email because the one that was missing was in a sailor suit, but I also have a sailor uniform and then a pirate. So I was like, to be clear, this isn't the pirate or the one in the sailor like.
No, it was
Seifuku.
very helpful that you provided more details.
What was the culprit? Who was the culprit?
It was
Max.
Max Scoville.
It wasn't Destin?
It was no. I would have. Yeah, he
The
would have
joke
blamed
there is Destin is the person who often emails
sends
about things being
company-wide
lost.
Usually,
emails that are
He's very angry about them.
not about Pikachu's.
So I never
You
made
can
the
have
but
a label maker.
I never made the connection. But your username is I can't pronounce it. What is it?
Charizard.
Say it again?
Charizard. It's
Jesus.
Alana in the middle of Charizard.
But that's obviously professing your Pokemon.
I mean, I
love
also have 2
goes-
Pokemon tattoos.
There you go.
So there's
All right.
that.
That's more
I
than
rest
Pear.
my case.
That's even more than Pear.
I got
You only have one and a half?
Yeah, I don't have that many.
I don't
Sorry.
have any tattoos.
Got to
so-
get some color with that ink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so big Pokemon fans, but we also have some Minecraft fans here in the room. I think we all played Minecraft. But this new Minecraft Mario pack looks so cool. It's called the Mario Mashup Pack. It's coming to Minecraft Wii U edition May 17th. It will also be in a retail package on June 17th, which I think is cool. I think it's going to be a rare Wii U game. You take that from me. I'm a big collector.
Yeah, I think it's smart. I mean, like they gotta get
Did you see
the
the
word
trailer?
out, right? Yeah, it looks really cool.
It's so
It looks
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's these giant, huge Nintendo like maps with all this like cool stuff to play in.
Does
and
it
then also
include the
skins
maps
for it.
though, or is it just
I don't
that it
know.
includes items?
I'm assuming you get something.
They
like
showed
that.
all that.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd show all that
All
and
they-
then not give it to
I
us.
think
Or
the
they'll
idea
share a
was that
server or something.
It has textures that would let you build that stuff.
Oh,
I don't
they
know
can't
that you'll
tease it
just get
way.
that
They showed,
stuff.
like,
But maybe it's
hopping
the-
on
maybe-
Yeah.
boxes.
It might be the tutorial level. Maybe they're replacing that one with
Could
this,
be,
you know.
yeah.
But like this is the thing when
didn't say
when
that,
we
though.
talked about Nintendo's
you're right, you
fortunes
didn't say that.
and where they went wrong with the Wii U, like before the Wii U came out, it's like, oh, this thing would kick ass with Minecraft,
Yeah.
right? Because at the
Yeah.
time,
Manipulate the
Minecraft on the
screen.
PC, you were still mixing things, you know,
Mm.
and it would have been nice to do that on a touchscreen, much easier to craft stuff. Of course, the game's moved away from that setup, but like this was what they needed, man. They needed a Minecraft, like a big hit that all the kids were playing out there, and they needed to put their own stamp on it, which is this Mario World. It's awesome. It's arriving now,
Too late.
but man, it's late.
It's
Jesus, is
Yeah.
this
Far
late.
too late.
It is.
But I
Yeah.
do love that they're doing a retail package because that means, you know, you'll see it at Target where families are shopping.
Yeah,
you see it
kids
at
will see it.
Walmart.
Yeah.
I like
It
the
also
retail package.
That's
looks
good.
I already have
awesome.
it. It's
Like-
free, by the way, if you already have it.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's free download, yeah.
Nice.
The skins aren't exactly new because people have been making those kinds
Right.
of skins
Right.
mods for a really long
Yeah,
time.
modders
But I
and-
think the music, there's 14 new songs. I think it's 14. And I think that sounds amazing. From what you see in that trailer, it sounds so good. So I hope that there's like a lot of different variants on there.
Yeah, and that as a free download, it's just
Yeah.
that's great user support. Minecraft was founded on the idea that the game you got in the very beginning, even before it was out, would evolve over time, right? So
Yeah.
they've added more and more features to this game, always for free. People did pay for skins, like you can buy skin add-on packs on the consoles as well, and they made a crap ton of money with that
Yeah.
stuff too. So it's awesome seeing Nintendo support it like this and giving people free stuff.
It's also like I love the idea of being able to build the Super Mario 64 castle
Yeah.
in Minecraft, but I wonder if the Minecraft audience would have even played Super Mario 64.
You know what? That pixel art and the look of the Mario game is so universal. I think even
Yeah,
if they
you're
didn't
probably
play
right.
it, they watched it on YouTube
Yeah,
and
they
they
know
know
it.
what it
Stars
looks
and
like.
mushrooms
Yeah.
and Mario are still like this widely recognizable thing.
Well, even
Yeah.
if you have played Smash, like when I was
Right.
younger, that's how I was
That's
introduced to like franchises I
What a
hadn't yet
cool
played.
backwards way.
Yeah,
to
that's
get
true.
Well, and that was
Yeah.
like it for us for like weird Japanese games in
Yeah.
Smash Brothers. But
I think
that's
my-
interesting.
well, yeah,
Don't-
like,
don't
that's
people get
My
into Nintendo
introduction
through
to
Smash
Samus was through Smash Bros.
My same. Mine.
It's like the Star Wars thing.
Kind of.
No.
What's the
Did
Star
you
Wars
did you play Super Metroid in the end or no?
Yeah, I have
Okay,
played
good,
Super
good,
Metroid.
good.
What's the Star Wars thing?
I hadn't seen the original Star Wars trilogy before
Oh
I
yeah,
started
you
working
just
here.
seen the Phantom Menace and
That's.
Yeah.
Did
But,
you watch it? You've seen it now.
Yes.
Somebody made you watch
Max.
it.
aren't
Thank
they
you.
cool in '70s?
I still really, really like them.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
I think they're great.
Yeah, I think Smash is one way to get those characters recognizable, though. Like that's how I was introduced to Fire Emblem, also.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, me too. Actually.
Yeah.
And
So-
some characters are obscure. Let's face it, right? Like even
Like Rob.
Earthbound was
mean,
not a top
that's
seller.
true.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Pit
Yeah.
was obscure for a long
Kid
time.
Icarus,
I saw
yeah.
Kid Icarus and Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters for
Yeah.
Game Boy at one point. Now there's a third
And
Kid Icarus
Detective Club.
The Minecraft skin pack also has the hearts are like Mario style, but the food instead of the bread, I think it is now. It's little mushrooms.
Ah,
So when
There
you're
you go.
getting
Cute.
hungry, the little mushrooms will go.
That's
down.
pretty cool.
What was created in that trailer looks absolutely beautiful.
It looks amazing.
I love the mashup of styles, and we're gonna have really cool impressions of this. So if you're listening to this on Friday, the following Monday, this Monday at 7 a.m. in the morning, we're gonna put up a bunch of impressions and a lot more information about this. So just wanted to share that with everybody. Be excited about that. I think it's gonna be great. Jose got to see it. Okay. I also wanted to mention too. This is the first Microsoft game on a Nintendo platform since Viva Pinata Pocket Paradise, I believe.
Yeah.
But before that, there was
Banjo-Kazooie?
No, that wasn't Microsoft.
No, hold on. That was hold on. What was the game? Yeah,
I got
that
some
was.
more.
Oh, that was
I
under
got some more.
THQ's label. Yeah, that's right.
Blue Dragon actually came out on DS. A spin-off of Blue Dragon came out.
Yeah.
And then the original Microsoft games ported to Nintendo consoles were Microsoft Pinball Arcade, which was a PC game just completely ported to the Game Boy Advance.
That's so
it
strange.
said Microsoft. This is before Xbox. It said Microsoft at the top, and then also another game, the Microsoft Windows Game Pack, I believe it was. You could play Minesweeper and Solitaire,
Wow.
and the ski game from
Yeah.
old computers.
Yeah.
On your
That was the Microsoft Banjo-Kazooie. It was done under
This was
license.
after-
Under
Grunty's
license
Revenge.
from but THQ published
I
it, licensed by
had
Microsoft.
Grunty's
Wow,
Revenge.
that's so weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
THQ
weird.
published it? That's
Grunt-
all very
Grunty's-
strange.
Nope, not a fan of Grunty's Revenge.
And of course,
No,
Halo DS.
well, never came out, but it was a pitched game. Yeah.
But
Did you play it?
Yeah. We were shown the game
played
by the
Halo DS.
developer.
that's cool.
What?
Played. It was very. It was a
It was
proof of
remembering.
concept that was pitched to Microsoft and Bungie.
Yeah, this is like the second big, I guess, kind of partnership lately, like with Skylanders having
Yeah.
the Donkey Kong and Bowser
That's
as
right, licensing.
Skylanders. Yeah, and then this as well. Like, I wonder if this is something that we'll start to
Nintendo
see
said
more of.
last year that they wanted to do more licensing of their characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hence, and also that coincided with their push to put stuff on iOS.
Yeah.
I gotta think though that the honeymoon for Minecraft on the different platforms is going to end with Minecraft 2. Like Microsoft did not shell out all that cash to distribute it across all these different platforms.
Yeah.
I think they'll make it a Windows and Xbox exclusive eventually. Not this game, the next one.
Yeah, you're
So-
probably
Gotta be. Come on.
Yeah.
And one final thing, there's got to be a Zelda pack.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
That,
so
that
good.
color palette and
Yeah.
landscapes and everything that Minecraft's so good at. Zelda, especially with the monsters, like that.
Bow and arrow,
That's it.
everything.
That
Yep.
would be really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some
And
monsters
Pokemon,
that are
honestly,
in this as
Pokemon
well.
would be cool.
That's
too.
harder to do because of the
I
Pokemon
want to build my
company
own
sub-license.
gym. Build my own gym.
Oh, that'd be
so
nice.
can-
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
My like dream video game is a like huge scale open world Pokemon RPG where you could like be a breeder or be a trainer or be
Mine
a
too.
gym leader and you can just
know.
do whatever you want.
So
I
perfect, right?
basically,
Yeah.
I am
You
a
probably
like,
have to make it yourself.
Well,
Well-
have Bethesda and Pokemon Company just
yeah, I
that'd be
know.
great.
that'd be really
You
cool.
need, I mean, that's the issue. It's so hard to make a game like that. We've
Yeah.
all, in the past, we've dreamed of like, oh, what if you had a Lego open world game where anybody, and then a game like that comes out, and it's like, well, that's not what we want.
It's
It's
fine.
A
not,
couple
you need
games,
a
yeah.
really good developer to pull that
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
But man, that world is ready for it.
Yeah,
right?
it'd be
Like
awesome.
even a single player
Monster
open
Hunter
world
style
RPG where you encounter Pokemon in a
Yeah.
3D world.
Yeah.
would
That's
be
all
so
I want.
cool.
Like in
I guess-
Snorlax is like actually like toweringly big.
Yeah.
You have to
Oh,
climb him
man.
like Shadow of the Colossus.
I mean, I guess that's what Ni no Kuni is. I guess it's just not exactly the same
Doesn't have
thing.
Pokemons.
It's not a real Pokemon.
Yeah, I want VR Pokemon, and I want Pokemon to be real. When I was like 10 years old, I told my mom,
I wanted Pokemon to be real so bad.
Yeah, I told my mom, I'm going to study genetic engineering, and I'm going to make Pokemon real.
That's
and then
frightening.
I
Guys,
started.
just go grab a
No,
sea lion.
I started college as a chemistry major
smell bad.
because up until that point, I had leaned heavily into being a scientist, so I could do that. And then I started college as a chem major, and then I was like, nah.
Probably not gonna do that.
Wire a car battery to some mice, you get your Pikachu.
But I mean, if we can't have this giant open world Pokemon game, I will settle for Pokemon Snap on 3DS.
Yeah,
Maybe you guys could get
that's
a little
due for
bug
comeback.
catching kit and go out into nature and actually catch bugs.
That was the inspiration for Pokemon.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You could do that in the Bay Area. You can catch
You know
banana
who
slugs,
caught-
which
Not
are
a
like
huge
this
fan.
big.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
huge
You know who-
yellow slugs, and then
They're
you
gross.
catch tarantulas in the same
No.
area.
Oh, nope.
Tarantulas up in the hills, yeah.
Max Scoville caught a cockroach, and that has not gone well. So no
Brian
thanks.
Jr.?
Yeah, Brian Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah, our
The
editor-in-chief
cockroach's name
has-
is Brian
has told
Jr.?
Max to remove that from IGN.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
But my idea was to take it and go release it, and then bring it back to Max's desk while he's recording up at noon. Just leave the jar just a little bit open.
Oh, that's a
Good
good
God.
idea.
That's way better.
I feel like we should provide context for this. Since Brian is out, who
All right,
sits next
nobody
to
listening
Max,
to this, tell Max that we're going to do that.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
we'll prank him.
Yes. He.
But who wants to carry the cockroach and go release
I'm
it?
not doing that. He caught
right,
a
Callie.
cockroach.
Callie, you're it. We all
Put it
looked
in a
at you
little
at the
jar.
same time.
All right, I'll do
Okay,
it.
go ahead.
I'll do it for
So,
a good goof.
Max caught a cockroach,
For a good
put it in a little jar, put some oatmeal in the jar with
Well, they
it.
eat that. They're big fans of oatmeal.
The jar is mostly just full of cockroach crap at this point. And then like put a little lid on it and wrote Brian Jr. on it while Brian's out, and it's been in Brian's desk since Brian has been out. So there's this like just little cockroach. Is it still there?
Yeah, he was just asked to remove it today.
It's been there for a week.
All right.
It'll be there for 1,000 years
But yeah,
if it's up to the
Minecraft-
That's true.
cockroach.
That's
It's
true.
got oatmeal. It's set.
That's
It's fine.
Nope, no thanks.
All right.
It'll survive us all.
And so our chat is ended. Remember
Oh.
to that's from Game of Thrones. Yeah. No. Remember to just subscribe to NVC on YouTube and review us on iTunes, as we mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. We'll give you a shout out. Want to watch at home? Please do. I watch on Apple TV. It works really well. It's
Yeah.
great to grab the IGN Apple TV app. Makes it very easy to watch NBC at home. I suggest you do that. Thank you so much, Alana.
Thank
you
you.
so much, Callie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pear. I'm Sam. Jose will be back next week. Send him some questions to answer, and we'll see you then.
Get the
Thanks so
thing.
much.